Hey everybody, it's the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is going to be dedicated to One Piece Chapter 801, Proclamation of a New Era. We have as our cover spot here, Cavendish and his horse Farul tending to roses for lunch, because you'll notice they both have rose stems in their mouth.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, like Cavendish, remember, when he was first introduced, he's eating the roses, so yeah, that's the thing for him.
Huh. Okay.
Okay. And then when the chapter proper starts, we're still in aftermath mode, but we're in Dressrosa right now. We have a couple of people talking about how there's no trace of a list of secret buyers, but there is definitely some sort of theft and dealing going on in this area. There's some stuff missing, like arms and information, and they figure the revolutionaries got to it before they could. We get a good look at the two guys that are talking right now, like that are there in person at least. One of them is wearing a very familiar mankind-style mask and a bowler hat. Looks like Spandam. He's being very different to the guy he's talking to.
The other guy's a bird.
Yep. Oh, hang on. You're coming in a bit low.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's coming in low. I don't know if that's me or you.
Oh, it's me.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, actually, we see obviously what's obviously Spandam right there, and then actually talking on the phone snail at somebody else is a man with a goatee, masked man in a goatee, a top hat, and a pigeon in a necktie. I wonder who that could possibly be.
Yeah, it's obviously. Yeah, it's obviously Lucy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt in that case. But I think in this case, I remember seeing a post that mentioned like the guy he's talking to on the phone had Kaku's speech pattern as well.
Oh, Kaku. So they joined CP0.
Yeah.
After because they came back to attack Spandam. I'm assuming that they succeeded and forced him to force someone to get them promoted into CP0, which means that they are now under the World Nobles jurisdiction rather than the world governments, which is technically high. What if I argue?
Oh, go ahead.
So, I was just gonna say, like, is the 5 Elder Stars, are they higher or lower or equal to the World Nobles?
Lower, easily.
Are you sure? The Gorosei. Maybe, because, if they feel like it, they could easily turn on the World Nobles, because they're the one. After all, if the World Nobles get hit or whatever, who's there to protect them? The Marines. So the Gorosei is like, you know what? We don't feel like protecting you anymore.
Well, let's assume they could get the Marines to cooperate.
The Marines just follow what the Gorosei does, though, right?
I don't think so. I think it's a little more complicated than that anyway. But
well, I mean, the Gorosei, they had the world government, and I'm sure. I mean, again, I don't think there's any reason for them to ever argue or be against each other. But it's like, I wonder who are the thing is that we don't know who the Gorosei are.
Yeah.
So anyway, now Lucy gets he's probably working for the. Actually, that's what CP0 is working for, right? They work for the. Yeah.
They work for the government. I forget if they said they work for the World Nobles specifically, but they definitely work for the government.
Oh, I thought it's different. I thought that CP9 works with the government.
Well, all the CPs work for the government.
Oh yeah, but I think CP0 is more specifically for the World Nobles.
I think so. I'm getting it pulled up right now while we kind of talk about this. But in the meantime, we move on to the next scene where we go into a narration about what Dressrosa is like. A country of tragedy. The strings of darkness were hung, and yet as the countless tragedies rained down upon them, they held back their tears, danced and sang. And they do kind of all this stuff. It's like a neat little thing I noticed on here as this whole thing kind of goes on. Well, I'll actually get this in a moment here. Like King Rico formally introduces the Tontata to the people. Like we meet Chief Tonta and Mansari, and they find Mansari adorable. I mean, who doesn't? Leo's got plans to build something, and apparently some people are going to be helping him out with that.
I was going to say Leo. The moment I was like, who doesn't? Leo.
Mm-hmm. Well, true. Yeah, but that's because he's oblivious. He's a dummy. And once again, we have reference to the Reverie that's coming up soon. We see Rebecca and Mansari kind of hanging out together too. But on this page, actually, here's kind of one of the first little things I want to bring up here. Like they talk about travelers would certainly find one thing quite strange, where throughout the city one can see living alongside humans naturally and freely the tiny little silhouettes of dwarves. This is very reminiscent to me of when they first arrived in Dressrosa, the narration, it's like chapter 701, I actually checked this, exactly 100 chapters ago, where there's a narration as they first enter Dressrosa for the first time and see all the living toys.
Holy shit, he actually... I know that he does the whole 100 thing, but that's really... I know, it's like, how do you plan this by chapters?
I know.
It's such a... Because the deadline's based on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you deal with a weekly basis, weekly deadline, and then do all this ahead? You know,
there may have been some points where the pacing had to be rushed or slowed down a bit, depending on what they did. But yeah, also like we've got statues of at least Kyros, Luffy, and Usopp, and Usopp's in the sugar face.
Yeah, well, I mean that is the face that saved Dressrosa. It has to be that face.
It's true, and you also see the kid in the Kuma shirt.
Oh yeah, I wonder why.
Well, I could see the warlords being popular. I mean, remember Crocodile Tailed as a hero originally when we first met him, so I can see them being like marketable.
That was 4 kids to remember for me.
Well, so. Still, like pretty much people that saw Crocodile as a hero when they first introduced him in Alabasta.
Okay, I thought that because I always thought that the Shichibukai were like, I know they work for the government. I always thought that people just still treated them as pirates.
It might depend on the person. Like in that case, Crocodile had built up PR.
Okay, because I know that Hancock has their own island, and I know Doflamingo manipulated the island to thinking that he was great and all. Yep. But and from
there we got out on the open sea where some ships are pretty much escorting Doflamingo to prison. We have Sengoku and Fujitora talking about it. And quick side note: the Pone Goat is back.
Yeah, I guess the gorilla stayed home.
Maybe we'll see. Anyway, Sengoku's pretty much telling Fujitora that, like, Fujitora is pretty much banned from any marine base until he gets Straw Hat in law. Sengoku tells him that if he apologizes, I'm sure Fusakazuki will feel placated, but Fujitora's like, no, I've got my own honor to think about here. It's like, Sengoku's like, oh, whatever.
Anyway, and then we go to...
Juru and Doflamingo.
Yep.
And pretty much Doflamingo has this big old rant base that... Joining up with him and stopping like Luffy and Law was their one chance to keep things from spiraling into chaos.
And he's like, oh, what's gonna happen? And he basically mentions like all the big players, like the people who belong to the world's generation, the Shichibukai, and then of course the Yonko. You see all these pictures on the pages.
Yeah, there's a nice picture of all of them right there on page 11 there.
I was actually trying to look if maybe I could find the 7th Shichibukai because you. There's a new guy.
There's a new guy we haven't been told about yet.
I mean, but he's not introduced in any silhouette. But I think there is someone who is introduced.
Yeah, you see the green bull down in the bottom right there.
Yeah, and that actually I always had this I had a prediction, but this silhouette actually makes me actually might support my prediction is that Green Bull might be a woman.
The hair definitely gives you that impression. Like definitely poofy, more feminine hair.
Well, I mean, they had to find a way to make each of the admirals unique, right? I mean, because we already had, Akiji, we had Akainu, and now we have Fujitora and Kizaru, right? So it makes sense that they're going to switch it up and change maybe the personality or the gender to give the admirals their own uniqueness, because of course they're admirals. There's something special about them. There always is. So.
Then there's also the Revolutionary Army. We have like Sabo, Dragon, Ivankov, and is that somebody new on the kind of the left there? Of that
I was trying to figure out who that was, but I don't know. Like, I checked out the Revolutionary page and try to see all the people, and I didn't recognize anyone.
And Doflamingo's frame was like, and there's also the clan of D to think about. Like, they're always somewhere in history. Like, who will join with whom? Who will betray who? Tell this as a celestial dragon spurts atop their ivory towers in Marizoa. You bastards will be yanked down from your golden thrones. It's been 25 years since Gold D. Roger first ruled the Grand Line, and Whitebeard never ascended that throne. He ruled kneeling before it. And now the throne is conspicuously empty, and you've got all these big players in one place. You know what that means? There's going to be a big old war to take that throne. And I got pretty much that Doflamingo's like, I take it out on a trip to Impel Down. Do me a favor, just give me a newspaper every day, and that'll be all I need. So I don't have to be bored.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. They always go to Impel Down, but like, I wonder how well it's received now, because we people were able to get out, because before no one could get out.
Well, people still can't get out. That jailbreak was like a once in a.
I know. What I'm saying is, I wonder how much it's changed since then. Opportunity to change, because I know it's a one-time thing, but remember the world government is harsh. I mean, remember Magellan got demoted just for that one mistake.
Well. I think he was also kind of like ready to seppuku too, so I don't think he minded. But Hannibal is the warden now too, so it's not like a gigantic shift in staff.
Yeah, but I'm just curious if they have like 10 more like barriers now or something, 10 more like walls to like go through instead.
Yeah. And I was like, with Impel Down, like on TV tropes, like they're like the page picture for like the Alcatraz, like the unescapable prison. Like see, the Impel Down was surrounded by ocean and ships, and the quote simply, "Yeah, good luck with that."
Anyway, so then we see from afar a pirate ship who's looking to get Doflamingo back. And
real quick, if you note their flag, their skull and crossbones on there, it's very similar to the one we saw on the guys that Sanji's group was facing earlier.
Yeah.
And actually, I just realized this just now. Their figurehead is an elephant. The reason that's important is because the next island they're going to is Zo, and that's the Japanese word for elephant.
Okay, that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
So we get this guy who's called Captain Jack, and a lot of people are making so many Captain Jack Sparrow jokes.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's an intentional reference or whatever, but
I'm sure Oda is savvy.
But this guy here seems to have like a mask or like a metal jawbone, at least something like a lot like Captain Morgan. And a lot of people think it's Captain Morgan, although I think that I don't think it's exactly the same mask. Maybe it is Captain Morgan. It could be, and that he somehow he got disgraced, but at the same time, I was wondering how he could escape, and he probably didn't go to Impel Down though, so I'm assuming that he probably could escape from jail and join the pirates, because it's not like he had anything left.
Yeah. And that's maybe he even went to Impel Down in the first place because he wasn't like big enough.
Yeah, I said that. I made that assumption.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's strong enough to be part of. Well, actually, he can make it. I don't know. I feel like he's strong enough to be part of the first level. Mm-hmm. At least. I don't know. At the same time, I don't think everyone goes to Impel Down. So.
No, I mean that's like the big name prison, or at least maybe people who are caught in the Grand Line.
Well, he was a captain, so I'm assuming that they might put him.
Yeah. That might be reserved for like either really big names or people who are caught in the Grand Line.
I feel Buggy was there.
He was in the Grand Line.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wait, he was. I just don't think highly of Buggy.
Nah, nor should you.
Yeah.
Anyways, like I said, they're gonna attack anyway, and then going from there, we move over to Luffy's group and the Barto Club ship, which is just excellent.
This is so. It's predictable, but at the same time, now that I see it, it's so disturbing.
I love the fact that Luffy's arms are like kind of going around.
It's called the ship is called the Going Luffy Senpai. Okay, wait.
Usopp even points out like it looks like there's a better chance Luffy's on it than their own ship.
Yeah. Wait, were you the one who predicted that? Because you made was it on record? Because you made the prediction that the Going Mary's head, the sheep head, would be like the
I think I remember like thinking it might be. Oh wait, I just realized. Look at the size. Chopper's antler.
Where is it? Where? Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I think they may even have trees on there. It's even kind of designed like the caravel, like the Mary is.
Yeah, but you said like you expected the Mary's head to be like the head of the ship, which is where Luffy is, but it is actually still at the bottom of the sails. So you were close.
Yep. And also, minor point that they reveal here is that like all the new guys took a little bit of Luffy's Vivre card, including Bellamy.
Yeah, who is Nakami underling, and I'd be like, oh, good, because having 5,601 guys a part of Yamada just doesn't sound as good.
Anyway, it's like Luffy's presence is blinding Bartolomeo's entire crew, which makes me so very happy. I was so glad to see that they're all Luffy fanboys.
Why wouldn't they be? Why would they join if they weren't?
I wonder how many of them are converts that Bartolomeo convinced.
Yeah. I'm actually curious as how they found each other. Like, did he just like find them, or would they just gather in one place? Or I'm curious. Yeah, were they converts, or were they actually Luffy fans to begin with, and they just found Bartolomeo, and he's the strongest, so he's a captain. I don't know.
Yep. Anyway,
I'm actually into this crew.
Yes, I did. They make me happy. It's like when we flash back to seeing them all taking the Vivre card. Also, notice like Luffy's in bloated. I've just been eating a lot mode.
Yeah.
Also, like so now Luffy's like pretty happy. He liked the banquet. Is starting to like those guys. Law wants to hurry to Zo so they can get their next gig, their next thing. They're worried about Sanji, but Frankie's pointing out like Nami's with them, so navigating wouldn't be a problem. But then again, they were also fighting Big Mom's ship. Also, I just noticed here trees in the background.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? You know why you like the crew? It's because the crew represents us. You know what?
Yeah.
I think because Oda's One Piece is popular in Japan. I'm sure he gets a lot of this treatment when he goes outside to get some food or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's like, you know what?
Wait. Now that you say that, just looking at the next page, I'm picturing like the grocery store people like literally rolling out the red carpet for him.
Yeah.
Like they're doing right there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and then like Zoro points out that the reason they're rolling out the red carpet is because they're going to Bartolomeo's room where they've got all the new wanted posters up and running and framed. Luffy's got his own frame. The other 8 have their own like big frame.
I just want to mention. Look at Bartolomeo's face when they did the carpet thing. Look at his face.
Yeah, I see. I was like, right. Like I said, he got all the bounty posters. They're all framed, all nice looking. But real quick, I mentioned this to you before we started here. But look to the left, and you see all the autographs that they signed for him.
Yeah.
Luffy's on the top.
Yeah.
It's signed Ore, which is Japanese for like I or me. He basically just signed it me. Zoro's 2 things here. One is the kanji for katana.
Okay.
So in other words, he signed it sword. But I just realized this. It never really clicked for me before. But that looks like Zoro when he's holding his swords.
You're right. It does.
And then Usopp, I can't really make out what's on Usopp's there. Then it looks like maybe like his face, long nose, and are those feet on the right there? But you can tell it's Usopp because it's also written nicely there.
Usopp's all about fame, so I'm sure he went all overboard with it.
Yeah, Frankie's got his name with a star on there. Robin drew a rooster on hers because that's what she always calls Bartolomeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And at this point, this is pretty much where we get all the bounties here. I'm just going to go from... We kind of go from... I'm going to go a little out of order here from what they show here. I'm going to go from the bottom, from the lowest to the top, if that's all right.
Yeah.
And we have Tony Chopper. The good news is his bounty has doubled. Bad news is that means it's only 100 berries.
This is horrible. This is a travesty. He got robbed. I mean, the government better show some damn respect to this guy because you know what? He can probably destroy like half of them.
Yeah. The next group of them pretty much got a flat across the board 50 million increase. So like Nami, she was 16 million berries. Now she's 66. Brooke is 83. Frankie is 94. And real quick here, Frankie points out that one, he was so close to breaking 100. And also the picture on this poster is the General Frankie, his robot. Also,
well, to be fair, he is half robot himself, it's like, well, what's the difference?
Also, Brooks wanted to poster just one of his concert posters.
Well, I mean, you have it there. Why not use it, right?
True. It's not like he's not recognizable.
Yeah.
And then Sanji's actually got a bigger increase. He went from 77 to 177. And he's no longer got these composite sketch. He's actually got a picture with what looks like him on Fistman Island.
Yeah, he's like running around with this love-struck face.
Yeah. There's another note here, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because that's the final part of this. Usopp is the big one here. He used to have 30 million berries. Now God Usopp is worth 200 million, which just pisses off Frankie.
A lot of people in the comment section thought he was going to be more than Luffy out of a joke, like kind of like a joke thing, how because Usopp is like God Usopp, so they thought, well, wouldn't it be funny if he somehow was more dangerous than Luffy? But I kind of like where it is right now. It's like 200 million shows of. He is a threat, but at the same time, we all know that Luffy is the captain. That's fact.
And Zoro as well. Like Zoro and Luffy are the 1 and 2 and 1 there, but Usopp's still like the. Actually, he kind of still screws over Sanji. Come to think of it.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, Zoro he went from 120 to 320 million berries, so he got a 200 million increase. He's actually got the biggest single increase of the bunch in terms of like how much you go from one to the other.
Yeah, but keep in mind that these two were not to the ones who got the highest increases were the ones who actually had the biggest part to play in the Dressrosa Rebellion.
Or at least the biggest visible part, since Frankie took on Senior Pink, but not really too many people know about that. I'm sure.
And of course, Nico Robin was shafted in this arc, which we have noted to be was a problem. But here's the thing, though. Both Luffy and we'll mention Luffy in a second, but both Luffy and Zoro have the highest, obviously because they have actual positions, the captain and the first mate. You always want those two to be the most, because they have the most quote unquote leadership, even though we don't really care about leadership in this crew. But in terms of the world government's eyes, that's what they see. Like, okay, the captain and then first mate, they're the leaders. We gotta give them the highest. Which is my explanation as to why Usopp doesn't have the highest, even though he is God Usopp. It's because they know that Luffy and Zoro technically outrank him.
Yeah. Plus, they're the ones with more relative infamy anyway. The only ones with infamy besides them would be Robin.
Yeah.
Anyway, Zoro went from 120 to 320, and Luffy's gone from 400 million to 500 million. But we already knew that.
Yeah.
We also know that Law went up to 500 million, which pretty much ruled out any possibility of him still being a warlord, because being a warlord freezes your bounty.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was revoked by Fujitora. So.
Yeah, but I think there's still people wondering if he might go back, that they would revoke him as well, since he did take down Doflamingo as a...
Yeah, but he did team up with Straw Hat.
Yeah.
He did too, so it's kind of like... The world government's not that stupid.
Yeah. I was like, Bartolome, when he's telling him about this, he's like, oh, by the way, Law, your bounty went up as well, in case you're wondering, it's 500 million. I had a poster, but I kind of threw it out. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, like I said, I mentioned before this, while Frankie's choking out Usopp over having such a high bounty, it's like we learned that there's one odd little detail about Sanji's poster that's different from all the others.
Oh, before we start with Sanji, I just kind of want to note that I like how they mentioned that Nami has a glamour shot. Did you mention that?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't. Yeah, because like last time she like posed for the picture because they convinced her it was for a newspaper.
Yeah, but I wonder why she did it again. Because did they trick her again? Because she was pretty pissed that it was actually for a bounty last time.
But she was also glad that the picture was nice.
So I guess she's like, you know what, screw it, I'll just make it nice anyway.
Yeah, and then also like I just realized on this last panel where they're showing the clips with Sanji's poster, you can see his arm is wet, so that's definitely Fishman Island, I'm betting.
Yeah.
Between that and the love-struck face, but anyway, the little detail unique to Sanji's poster compared to everyone else's is that his poster where everyone else says dead or alive, Sanji's poster is alive only. Like Sanji's bounty is only valid if he's captured alive.
And this is actually big because they made mention of that. And it's like, why is that?
You know, one thing I love about this is they suddenly turn what was just like a big old joke on Sanji, like his bad composite photo, the fact that his later poster had no picture at all, and they actually make it plot relevant here.
Well,
like,
I mean,
what if the reason that they couldn't, as if the reason they didn't do this before for Sanji was because they didn't know who he was or what he looked like before.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if we had that not happened, we wouldn't have Duval to be part of helping out. So I still
love that.
It's been slightly relevant. Not I mean, you didn't need Duval, obviously, but now this is actually, it might be really relevant, as in actually game changing. Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of theories going around. There's some really big ones, and there's some small ones, and so
like the one I've seen most commonly is that Sanji might be some kind of long lost royalty from somewhere.
Yeah, people think he's a world noble. No, he wouldn't be a world noble.
No, not a world noble. No way of that.
No, he can't be. Because one, he'd be way too obnoxious. Two, he wouldn't be. Like the first time we saw him, he was working as a chore boy, right? Like a dishwasher.
I said it could be long lost or unknown noble, or it could be a runaway noble.
Yeah. Well, it can't be runaway, at least with the world noble, because he would have talked about he would have warned Luffy not to hit them or something like that when they did that. But he acted as if like these guys were like foreign, so I think World Noble you can cross out the list because that's the biggest.
I was just because like given the whole big deal that it was just with Doflamingo and Rocinante, I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, they would have mentioned Sanji had that been the case. See, the thing is though, like that's the biggest theory out there. It's like that he's a World Noble. Some people think that
I would say like just royalty from some other North Blue island.
Well, actually, they say that it's the king who executed was the guy Noland or what's the guy?
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, the king. They think that he's a descendant because they said that when they explained the story, the king of Lionel.
I think I know where you're going with this, but because Sanji was familiar with that story, but that's just because it was like a common fairy tale or common story from people in the North Blue where Sanji grew up.
I don't actually believe it. I'm just reading off the comments right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that's a thing either. And they also argue like Sanji's always listening to someone closer than the rest, so it would actually it still made sense that he would listen, or he would make a more he'd give more of a reaction to listening to stories than the other members anyway.
This whole thing made me think of a neat little theory for Sanji that might be both relevant and maybe interested in his development later. It might even go along with the nobility theory. One of Sanji's biggest things that has irritated you a bit and can kind of be annoying back and forth depending on the situation.
Chivalry, right?
Huh? Yeah, exactly. I mean, one that by itself would make sense if you came from like a noble lineage kind of thing. But here's my kind of a little extra theory on this. It's not based off of anything just other than me just randomly thinking of this.
Yeah.
But what if Sanji came from a place where like women were the ones in power, like a matriarchal society? That would definitely explain why he's so reverent to women in a way.
Maybe, but
especially if he was only there since he was very young, he might have only gotten like the idealized or romanticized version of it.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, wouldn't he hate them if that's the case?
Depends on how it was done. I mean, I could still see it, especially if he got separated from when he was like too young to realize the difference between what he was taught and the reality.
Yeah. But again, but then why would he run away, right? So.
Yeah.
Well,
like I said, it may not have been his choice.
And some people argue, well, maybe he's not a world noble, but maybe like a world noble fell in love with him or something, or like wanted him to be her husband. Because they argue that look, the only person they think that the only person who can other than Wargum who can have this effect is the world noble. But I'm like, well,
I'm sorry, I just thought about something.
Yeah.
He might if he has some kind of lineage, he probably knows it just for the simple fact of Mr. Prince.
Oh wait,
that's the nickname he gave himself when he was like fooling Crocodile in Alabasta.
Yeah, I remember that. Holy shit! Yeah, no one's actually mentioned that.
I mean, that's the nickname he came up with for himself. I mean, granted, he sees himself as the prince riding to the rescue anyway, but still.
Well, one could, that's. I mean, it's really tricky, but going back to what I said before, like, maybe a world noble wanted him for a husband because he's an excellent chef, or maybe they saw him and they're like, hey, I want someone like that dedicated to women to be. I don't know, like that's maybe that's why. Although one could argue that it actually, I think it has more to do with the fact that they didn't know about him before, and now that they confirmed
and the reason they didn't know about him was because the bad wanted posters.
Exactly. So I actually don't think it's a world noble either. Some people argue that this is a little far-fetched one, that the third admiral, the female one, likes him, but it's like, okay, no, there's no way. Like, she has never been introduced before. Let's not have this connection be made before that, we don't. It's really interesting. Maybe it's the fact that maybe it's because some guy said that maybe it's because he was trained by
Zeph.
Now, who was the Okama guy?
Oh, Ivankov.
Ivankov. Maybe that he's a revolutionary, but then again, so was Robin.
He would know about Robin in that case, I'm sure. I mean, I don't think he was in the loop on that particular detail.
Wait, for what? Who?
Like for the revolutionaries. I'm not even sure if he would have been aware of Ivankov as well.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Well, I'm sure Ivankov eventually told him. But the thing is though, like, how would they know that Sanji was there versus and not know that Robin was there?
That's my point. Like that's why I figured he might not. Of course, Sanji was also kind of on the run for a lot of his time at Kamabaka.
Not to mention that it's because Ivankov was like the only Ivankov and the Inazuma were the only two revolutionaries there. So maybe Robin being with the action revolutionaries had higher security, but the fact is, I think that's just too far-fetched. So.
I mean, they could easily keep Robin present with them and it's quiet as well. So there's a few different ways that could go. Yeah. At any rate, like I said, that's definitely some things to think about on there. What I'm eager for now is next chapter. If we're going to start seeing like aftermath of the wanted posters, because I can remember like whenever there's a new bounty, like we start seeing like, people's reactions to them. Like we saw like right after Luffy got his, there's like people reacting to Luffy's poster.
Well, I mean, what's the difference between 400 and 500? I mean, really?
Well, not just that, but also like maybe like just a new poster for everybody else too. Like remember like when Nami got her poster, like Genzo at her village like had it blown up and put up on the wall. The Baratier crew put Sanji's wanted poster on their wall.
Yeah. I wonder who was that girl that Usopp was friends with?
Yasop.
Oh, dude! Yeah! Yasop be like, holy shit, yeah!
Because like I said, he was only ever Soge King before. They don't know about him. About Usopp now. And also, that's something else. You're about to mention the girl Usopp was with, Kaya.
Yeah, Kaya. Kaya be like, holy shit!
Well, she already knows about him. She already knows.
No, but I'm saying like the 200 million.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because when they got the Soge King bounty, like only the kids and Kaya believed it was him. Like they tried to tell everybody else, but they wouldn't believe him.
Yeah, but this is legitimately Usopp. Although not the best picture of it, but it's legitimately Usopp. It's like 200 million. Like, oh my god.
God Usopp.
God Usopp. Oh my gosh, that actually would be hilarious. At the same time, and maybe the last thing would be people talking about Sanji's picture.
Yeah. But
the real ones, like the ones in shadow.
Like I wonder, either in shadow or maybe Zeph will make some kind of veiled reference if he's aware of anything. I wonder if Sanji and them have seen this paper yet or seen their new posters yet. Because I can imagine like Nami crew will be asking about it.
Yeah, but I mean I don't know. I feel like the storyline about the whole rebellion against the rich people thing has been done with Sabo. I don't feel like done with another character.
And even to a lesser degree with Doflamingo and Corazon.
Yeah, so it's like, come on, let's. I mean, I get that he's a part of the crew, but it's like, well, we have a similar storyline. So let's not use that over again,
It could be a case of fleeing France, like the country was being taken over or something.
And that maybe, yeah.
That would definitely explain why they want him alive.
Yeah. Oh, and remember that Sanji also hated sharing food.
Hmm.
Maybe
Well,
that's like a royalty thing.
and I mostly took his maybe when he was like a little kid, you're right about that. I mostly take most of his food stuff to be like how he experienced the loss of starvation and all that.
No. I meant before. I'm
Oh.
talking about why he didn't want to share food in the
Like
sense
take,
that
yeah, like he didn't want to like eat the scraps.
yeah, he didn't want to eat the scraps. Maybe that's because that he felt that was a peasant thing,
Could be.
and maybe he obviously because before remember when he was a kid. Like, remember, if he's a runaway prince, then that means he probably worked the ship for like a year at most.
Okay, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a solid theory here for myself now. Still rough draft mode, but I'm thinking like I said, if Sanji is some kind of nobility or royalty, his family or whatever, like they had to flee the kingdom, like they fell out of favor, and probably Sanji was young enough that it doesn't affect him much now, or at least too young to remember clearly.
Still used kind of with.
Well, not
things.
quite. Well, not quite. The Don Quixote's like stepped down willingly.
Yeah, but
Sabo
I mean,
ran away.
yeah, but if we're talking about that thing. We did the whole thing with Vivi too in Alabasta.
True.
We gotta be. Come on, like.
I'm kind of curious to go over their interactions now. Like, just kind of read those vibes with her, Vivi and them, and see how Sanji interacted with her now. But at any rate, like I said, that's looks like Sanji's going to be the next big mystery of all this now.
I didn't expect that. I don't think anyone did though.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the fact that they actually turned the whole wanted poster gag into something fairly relevant to the plot now. Like, they actually, there's a reason that they didn't get a good picture of him until now.
Some of the gags have been done before. I think, unfortunately, the one I didn't like was the one with the nosebleed. That was turned into really super duper hardcore relevant. Relevant.
Right, the whole mermaid nosebleed thing.
Yeah, that was. I sorry.
Ooh.
Even now to this day, I don't think I thought it was so stupid.
One post I mentioned also mentioned the fact that Sanji also has an unusually rare blood type.
Which is, did they say?
I forget what it was called. It's like some, I don't know if it's like anything real world related. It say he has an unusually rare blood type compared to everybody else.
What the hell is he?
Exactly. There's something going on there. I wonder now that might have been like a little, like if even that gag wasn't as plot relevant as that little piece of it there.
You know what's hella funny is if there's, I don't know, I feel like, but I think some people do think it's funny that if there was like a girl who wanted him, like a really pretty world noble, and she'd be like willing to give him everything, but this is the first time he actually says no to a pretty woman because she's like a horrible person.
Yeah.
That'd be hella funny though.
Yeah. Because he at least knows the difference between a pretty lady and a horrible person. I mean, he'll still flirt with them and such, but still, it's like he's not that blind.
Yeah.
Emphasis on that.
Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't hit Khalifa. He was willing to disable her for a while.
He's at least going to try and intimidate her. Probably once he realized that.
Yeah. Well, he knew when to get serious, even though he wasn't. Again, I have issues with that, but he knew at least when to get serious. But yeah, but I'd actually like to see that, like a female world noble, a celestial dragon, who's like, yeah, I want him to be my man. And she's hella pretty, but he's like, oh my gosh, get me away from this person. You know, I think that'd be an interesting one. Yeah, right. Because I mean, all these girls always like ignore him or treat him like he's an extra.
If it is an actual like noble woman that wants him, I hope it sounds like some like abhorrent admirer type of situation. Like where she's like really horribly ugly, like man, like from Roger Rabbit.
But you see, the thing is that they already did it with the Okamas in the island, so it's like it'd be repetitive. So it's like, now let's change it up a bit. Let's make it an actual really pretty woman and have him not go for her. Yeah.
Like for some reason like that, like at the very least, or like being with her would be like a cost of his dream kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. Although I prefer the she's actually a bad person one. You know, the cost of your dream is a little. It's been done a lot of times. I feel like the evil person has been done a little less.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would fit more with the nobility, because nobility has not been shown to be very good in One Piece. So I think it fits more with a lot of the themes about how nobility can corrupt. Yeah. And so I think it'll be a lot better for One Piece if they do it that way. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that covers everything I can think about. There's like a lot of little things in this chapter all over the place. There's almost certainly stuff that we missed, but I think we got all the major stuff covered here today. Was there anything else you wanted to mention, or anything else that caught your eye?
Well, I was actually impressed with the fact that you remember the Prince code name.
Oh yeah.
That might be a very important thing. In fact, because no one in the comment section has actually mentioned that. So yeah, you can comment away if you want.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. For anyone else out there, do you guys think that Shanti is a prince in hiding? Do you think there's something else going on here? Share any theories you might have on there. Let us know what you think, and we'll Like I said, if there's anything interesting on there, maybe we can bring it up with next week's chapter, or even just comment on the video itself there.
Oh, I want to give a mention. Some people on the comments. This one last theory is that he had. They think he has some connection with Big Mom because like he was last seen in her ship or something on a ship by the government, and maybe. But I feel like that's too.
Yeah, I mean,
that's too easy.
Big
too
Mom
simple.
wouldn't be able to influence like a live only poster.
Yeah.
Especially not in like a short span like we have here.
Yeah, so that seems to make sense. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, like I said, it's been a review of One Piece 801, Proclamation of a New Era. Like I said, keep a watch on this for every Tuesday for new episodes of the Typical Manga Reviews. New chapters come out. Meantime, go ahead and take us away.
Bye.